Hey everybody, and welcome to another Enhanced Edition. I did the thing! The other thing. And the other thing being I panel-lined Transformers War for Cybertron Siege. I hate calling it that, so y'all better appreciate it. Jetfire. I really like how this came out. It's not perfect. There are certain areas where some of the stuff kind of wore away a little bit as I was trying to clean it up and had to kind of go back in and touch a few things up. Part of it was not being patient and letting stuff dry all the way. Part of it was taking too long a break between actually applying the panel lining stuff and then cleaning it off, and there was some smudging and stuff. And to be fair, it may not be the materials, it may be the application methods that I was using, or maybe I needed to shake up the panel lining fluid more in a few points, but there were times where I would apply it and it would just kind of spread out, and it looked like it was going to stain things, and it was just kind of weird. But regardless, I am done. It took a long time, but I am done. For anyone who's curious, who might want to try this themselves, I will include a link in the description for the panel lining and enamel thinner fluids that I used. They're both Tamiya. Whether or not they're still available, I don't know, but I will include links if you want to check them out. And if you're curious about how to use said panel lining stuff, well, you can check out that video up there where I talk about a little bit of the process. It's not difficult, it's just very meticulous and time consuming. So yeah, Jetfire, panel lined. It brings out so much of the detail, and I did pretty much every part of this guy that was exposed. Did the red, did the white on the top, sides, and bottom, for better or worse. There are areas that I did not touch on this guy. For one, I did not bother doing any panel lining on the darker gray bits because it just wouldn't show up well enough. So there are some areas that I did not panel line intentionally because you never see them. For example, okay, well, I'm not going to de-transform them right now, but like there's some detailing underneath this that I didn't panel line because in jet mode, clearly it's covered, and when it's in robot mode, this moves up, so it's still covered. You can kind of see a little bit of that detail kind of through here that I just didn't touch because, you know, you're never going to see it. And I was really getting tired of panel lining this guy. It was taking me actual weeks. Yes, as with all panel lining stuff that I've done, it's kind of one of those things where it's not necessarily immediately apparent unless you're doing like a side-by-side, but it brings out all of this detail very nicely. And oh yeah, here's a spot. Like, I didn't do back here because it would just be too much of a pain to get the little applicator in there and then to clean it up, and it would, you know, it's one little spot in jet mode. It's like, forget it. It was definitely an undertaking. This isn't a super cheap figure to begin with, but putting in the time, putting in the work, putting in the fluids, that didn't sound right. It kind of, I don't know, it makes him feel almost complete to me. Not that he felt incomplete before, but it just seems finished. So I think that is enough carrying on about the jet mode. So let's get him into his robot mode so we can take a look at that. Now we've got Tallboy in his Tallboy mode, and again, it's one of those things where I feel like it doesn't look all that impressive to me because I've been looking at it like this for a while and have also been kind of watching it slowly progress. But looking at pictures from before, yeah, you can make out this detail a lot better, and I think it does look much nicer like this. I was kind of hoping that the panel lining would make the weird color differentials between some of the areas, like how the thighs are a little bit gray here, but then whiter, like brighter white up here. I was kind of hoping the panel lining would mask that better, but it doesn't really. Yeah, overall, I really love how this enhances everything. It just makes all of those other details noticeable. Bringing them in so you can see some of the details in there, like all the stuff along the legs, the feet, insides of the legs, backs too. Don't want to forget those. The thighs. There are some areas in his butt. There's a little bit of a pain to get in there, but I did it. I did the hip skirts, the hands, the forearms, the biceps, the shoulders. These little sections underneath the shoulders, even the underside there. I just I kind of went a little bit wild on this guy. I just wanted everything that I could stand to panel line to be panel lined. and all that in the chest there, and of course the cockpit, I guess, section of the plane, the tops of the shoulders. I really like these little details here. Those are fun. I don't know. I did also do the head, the back, the sides, the front. It's not perfect. As I said, there are some areas where I kind of wish that I had gone in again, and some areas where it kind of wiped off where I didn't want it to, but for what it is, for how it turned out, I'm okay with it. I feel like it's one of those things you don't really notice unless you really get in there and scrutinize. Also did the stuff behind the head. That was fun. And along the back, you can see more of that detail, and also the wings, both the tops and bottoms. Just wanted them to be as well detailed as I could get them. Can't say it too many other ways. I just feel like having the that added detailing really does make him pop a little bit more. I did do the accessories as well, but it's a little bit more limited in that regard. Like I did his rifles, but it's really hard to see any of the detailing that I tried to bring out on the dark gray. It is there, like in here, along the grip here, along here. It's just difficult to see because it's, dark gray. It is less hard to see on the chest plate. Definitely helps to enhance some things on the chest plate, as well as the little mask helmet thing. I like how I like how that all came out, even the little vent thingy on the bottom there. So let me get him dressed up real quick. And now the tall boy is also the beefy boy. And yeah, I don't know. If nothing else, I appreciate the fact that the additional panel lining on the armor and the mask and everything makes it look like it's part of the set, which it is, but I feel like if I had ignored those, then they would stand out as just not quite feeling like they belong. So I'm glad I did that. Also worth mentioning, I found out something about this guy that I was not expecting. This is not something I discovered, this first thing. This I saw on Instagram, but I guess you can actually separate the double-barreled guns here from the little shield plate thing. They just peg in right there. So you can get even more accessories out of this guy if you want to do it that way. But the thing I accidentally stumbled on is these pieces, these longer pieces on the back. I did not realize this, but yeah, they come out like that. Split into two more pieces. So yeah, that is it for Siege Jetfire. Now, all I've been doing is talking about the panel lining, which again, I think is great. And I feel like if you have Jetfire and the means to do it, I highly recommend it because this really does make those details pop. And personally, while I appreciate the fact that there is a repro label set for this guy, looking at the pictures, I felt like it made him look just a little too busy. This, instead of adding like tons of red and yellow and whatever else colors to him, it just makes the texture that's already there more visible. Granted, it takes a lot more time and effort to do this than to put on the stickers, but I think it was worth it. So what do you all think of Siege Jetfire, either as far as how he looks with all of this, with all the stuff on, with the panel lining? How do you think of him as a figure? What do you think in terms of, say, Hasbro versus Fans Toys? I know that like one is a much higher end collectible and this is not low end, but there's a huge gap in terms of how much they cost, which is definitely something to consider, but I'm just curious what you all think. And whatever you all do think, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. I will see you next time, and please stay fabulous.